Have you ever looked in the mirror and felt that a part of you was slipping away? Your energy, your spark, your confidence. What if I told you it's not age that's stealing it, but 5 hidden mistakes almost every woman over 60 makes without realizing? These mistakes don't just affect your health. They quietly convince you that you are less vibrant, less capable, less you. But here's the truth. Once you uncover them, you can bring your confidence back, and it often happens faster than you imagine. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share could change how you see yourself from this day forward. So many women believe that losing confidence is an unavoidable part of getting older. They think, "Of course I feel this way. I'm past 60, my body is slowing down, it's just the way it is." But in my 30 years as a gynecologist, I've seen something very different. I've seen women who assumed their best days were gone, only to realize that their energy and their self-belief were still inside them, just waiting to be unlocked. The problem wasn't their age, it was the habits they had unknowingly fallen into. Hello, my friends. I'm Dr. Lisa Perriera, a board-certified gynecologist, and for more than 3 decades, I've had the privilege of caring for women through menopause and beyond. Over the years, I've heard the same private fears whispered in my office. "Lisa, I don't feel like myself anymore. My body has changed. My confidence is gone. Is this just aging?" And every time I tell them the same thing, you are not broken, and you are not too old to feel vibrant and confident again. Let me share with you the story of Margaret, a 67-year-old woman who came to me convinced she was fading. She told me she avoided family photos because she didn't like how she looked. She hesitated to meet friends because she felt drained and out of place. Her words were heartbreaking. "I feel invisible, as though I've disappeared into the background of my own life." Margaret believed this was permanent, the inevitable decline of aging. But as we looked closer, it became clear she was caught in a pattern of small, hidden mistakes she didn't even recognize as harmful. When we worked together to correct those patterns, her transformation was extraordinary. Within months, her energy returned, her posture improved, and she told me with a smile, "Lisa, I feel like myself again." Her confidence was not gone. It had simply been buried under habits that drained her vitality. And that is exactly why today's conversation is so important. Because I know many of you watching this feel the same way. You may be wondering if your spark has faded forever. You may be questioning whether you'll ever feel confident, attractive, or full of energy again. I'm here to tell you that you can. Once you understand the 5 silent mistakes stealing your confidence, you'll be able to take back control. And once you do, no one, not even time, can take that away from you. In the next few minutes, I'll walk you through each of these mistakes one by one. You'll learn why they happen, how they affect your body and your mind, and most importantly, what simple steps you can take to reverse them. These aren't extreme or complicated changes. They are practical, realistic, and within your reach. But before we dive in, I want to ask you something. When, during your day, do you feel your confidence dip the most? Is it in the morning when you wake up and look in the mirror? Is it in the afternoon when fatigue sets in? Or is it in the evening when loneliness creeps in? Think about it, and please share your answer in the comments below. By doing so, you might not only recognize your own patterns, but also encourage another woman who feels exactly the same way. So stay with me until the end of this video, because by the time we finish, you'll know the 5 hidden mistakes that are quietly stealing confidence from women over 60, and more importantly, you'll know exactly how to stop them. The first hidden mistake that quietly steals confidence after 60 is neglecting hydration. It may sound simple, but dehydration is one of the most common issues I see in women at this stage of life. As we age, our natural thirst signals become weaker. That means by the time you feel thirsty, your body is already lacking water. And this mild, constant dehydration doesn't just cause dry mouth, It affects skin elasticity, circulation, digestion, and even mood. When the body is dehydrated, the skin looks duller, fine lines appear deeper, and muscles and joints feel stiffer. All of these changes can silently chip away at a woman's confidence. Instead of feeling vibrant, she begins to feel older than her years. The Mayo Clinic has found that proper hydration improves mental clarity, energy, and skin health, all of which directly support confidence. Let me tell you about Claire, a 70-year-old woman who came to see me complaining of fatigue and low self-esteem. She said, "Lisa, I look in the mirror and I just see someone tired and worn out." When we talked about her daily habits, I learned she was drinking only coffee and tea throughout the day, with hardly any plain water. Once she began drinking 6 to 8 glasses of water daily and added water-rich foods like cucumbers and oranges, the difference was remarkable. Within weeks, she told me, "I feel lighter, my skin looks fresher, and I'm more comfortable in my own body." Something as simple as hydration helped restore not only her energy, but her confidence in how she presented herself. The second hidden mistake is avoiding strength exercises. Many women believe that walking is enough. While walking is excellent for the heart, it doesn't build or maintain muscle. And after 60 women lose muscle mass rapidly if they don't use resistance training. This silent loss of strength doesn't just make it harder to carry groceries or climb stairs, it weakens posture balance and even pelvic floor health. When women feel physically weak or unstable, their confidence begins to erode. They stop trusting their bodies, and with that, their self-assurance in daily life slips away. The National Institutes of Health reports that women who add even light strength training, such as resistance bands, light hand weights, or bodyweight exercises, see improvements in bone density, circulation, and energy. More importantly, they report feeling stronger and more confident. I think of Janice, a 66-year-old patient, who told me she felt fragile. She avoided traveling and social events because she feared she might stumble or feel too tired. She believed weakness was simply part of aging, but when we introduced just 10 minutes of gentle strength training 3 times a week, everything began to change. She started with seated leg lifts and light weights, gradually building her strength. 3 months later, she walked into my office with a smile and said, "Lisa, I stood up from a chair without using my arms for the first time in years, and I felt powerful." That moment of physical strength translated directly into emotional confidence. Think of muscles as the framework of your house. When they weaken, the whole structure feels unstable. But when you strengthen them, everything else from posture to circulation to confidence becomes solid again. So the first 2 mistakes are this neglecting hydration and avoiding strength. Both seem small, both are easy to overlook, but together they silently drain confidence by making you feel older, weaker, and less capable than you truly are. The good news is that both can be corrected with simple, consistent steps. Now I want to ask you, how do you feel about strength training? Do you already practice it, or is it something you've avoided because it seems intimidating? Share your thoughts in the comments. You may inspire another woman to take her first step towards strength and confidence. The third hidden mistake that quietly steals confidence after 60 is dismissing the importance of sleep. Many women tell me, "Lisa, I only sleep 4 or 5 hours a night. It's just part of getting older." But science shows this is not true. According to the Cleveland Clinic, women over 60 still need 7 to 8 hours of restorative sleep to protect memory balance hormones and renew energy. When sleep is cut short, the brain doesn't clear away toxins, the heart doesn't get its chance to rest, and the skin doesn't repair. The result? Fatigue, brain fog, irritability, and an older appearance. And perhaps most importantly, lack of sleep makes women feel less in control of their bodies, less capable, and less confident in daily life. Barbara, a 72-year-old patient of mine, was convinced that sleep no longer mattered. She spent late nights watching television, sometimes falling asleep in her chair, and rarely getting more than 5 hours of rest. She told me I just feel dull and heavy, like my spark is gone. When we adjusted her habits, reducing caffeine after lunchtime, dimming the lights in the evening, and keeping a consistent bedtime routine, her energy began to improve. Within weeks, she came back to me saying, "I wake up refreshed. I feel lighter. Even my family says I look more alive." Her confidence returned, not because of a new cream or supplement, but because she finally gave her body the rest it needed. The fourth hidden mistake is eating too little protein. After 60, the body processes food differently. Muscle mass declines, faster bones need more support, and the immune system requires strong building blocks. Yet many women fall into the pattern of light-eating toast for breakfast, crackers for lunch, maybe soup for dinner. While these foods are comforting, they lack the protein necessary to maintain strength and resilience. The National Institutes of Health recommends women over 60 consume about 1 to 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight each day. For a woman who weighs 65 kilograms, that means at least 65 grams of protein daily. Without it, muscles shrink, hair thins, and recovery slows. Confidence begins to slip because the body feels weaker and the mirror reflects fragility instead of strength. Let me share the story of Helen, a 69-year-old woman who told me she felt her body was shrinking away. She avoided going out with friends because she felt frail. When we looked at her diet, I discovered she was barely eating 30 grams of protein a day. We added small but powerful changes: Greek yogurt with fruit in the morning, a boiled egg as a snack, beans or lentil soup at lunch, and grilled chicken or salmon for dinner. Within 2 months, she reported that her energy was stronger and she no longer felt fragile. She said, "I didn't realize food could make me feel capable again." Think of protein as the bricks that rebuild your house each day. Without enough, the walls crumble. But when you supply your body with steady protein, your foundation remains strong, your posture steadies, and your confidence naturally rises. So mistakes 3 and 4 are this: undervaluing sleep and underestimating protein. They may seem like minor lifestyle choices, but in reality, they shape how you feel about yourself. Poor sleep makes you feel older than your years, and low protein robs you of strength and stability. Both chip away at confidence slowly but surely. But when you correct them, the body responds quickly. Energy returns, skin brightens, and self-assurance grows. Now let me ask you, on average, how many hours of sleep do you get each night? 5, 6, or 7 and above? Share your answer in the comments. You'll likely see that many women face the same struggle, and your honesty may help someone else take her first step toward change. The fifth hidden mistake that steals confidence after 60 is withdrawing from social connections. It often begins quietly. You skip a lunch with friends, you stop attending group activities, you avoid phone calls because you feel too tired. At first it seems harmless, you tell yourself you're just resting. But over time, this slow retreat leads to isolation. And isolation is one of the greatest threats to both health and confidence. According to the National Institute on Aging, Loneliness and Social Withdrawal, increase the risk of depression, memory decline, and even shorten lifespan. But beyond physical health, isolation sends a damaging message to the mind that you are alone, invisible, and no longer valued. Confidence withers, not because of age, but because of disconnection. Let me share with you the story of Eleanor, a 74-year-old widow who came to me for a routine exam. She was physically well, her blood pressure was normal, her labs were healthy. But when I asked how she was doing emotionally, she began to cry. She said, "Lisa, I feel invisible. My children are busy. My friends don't call as much, and I sit at home most days in silence." Eleanor believed she was fading because of her age, but what was really fading was her sense of belonging. We made a plan together. She would attend a book club at her local library once a month, volunteer at a food pantry twice a month, and commit to calling one friend each day. These were not grand gestures, but small steps to reconnect her with others. When she returned 3 months later, her entire demeanor had changed. She smiled easily, her voice was lighter, and she told me, "I feel alive again." I laugh out loud. I forgot how good that feels. Confidence is not built in isolation, it grows in connection. When you share a story, laugh with a friend, or join a group, you are reminded of your worth. You see yourself reflected in the eyes of others, and that reflection restores your sense of identity and value. Think of your confidence like a flame. When left alone, it flickers and risks going out. But when surrounded by others through conversation, kindness, and community, it is like adding wood to the fire. The flame grows stronger, brighter, and steadier. That is why I remind my patients that social connection is not optional, it is medicine. A walk with a neighbor, a phone call with family, or joining a local group may seem small, but they can completely transform how you feel about yourself. And when your spirit feels connected, your confidence naturally shines again. So the fifth hidden mistake is withdrawing from social connection. It may creep in quietly disguised as taking it easy, but it slowly steals vitality, joy, and self-assurance. The good news is that rebuilding connection does not require large crowds or endless energy. It begins with one call, one conversation, one act of reaching out. Now I want to hear from you. Do you feel you're connecting enough with others, or do you sometimes find yourself pulling away? Share your experience in the comments. Your honesty may encourage another woman to take that same brave step back into connection. We have now uncovered the 5 hidden mistakes that quietly steal confidence from women after 60. The first is neglecting hydration, leaving the body and skin depleted. The second is avoiding strength training, which weakens muscles, posture, and stability. The third is dismissing sleep, depriving the body of the restoration it desperately needs. The fourth is eating too little protein, weakening the very foundation of strength. And the fifth is withdrawing from social connections, which quietly dims the spirit. Each of these may seem small on its own. A skipped glass of water, a day without exercise, a late night, a light meal, or staying home instead of going out. But repeated day after day, they accumulate, and they don't just affect your body, they affect how you see yourself. That is why so many women believe their confidence has faded because of age, when in reality, it is these habits draining them silently. The hopeful message I want to leave you with today is this: it is never too late to change. Confidence is not lost forever. It can be rebuilt. Your body and your spirit are still capable of renewal no matter your age. With small, consistent changes, you can restore energy, regain strength, and feel like yourself again. I think of Rosa, a 70-year-old patient, who once told me, "Lisa, I feel like my best years are behind me." She was dehydrated, weak, barely sleeping, and living mostly in isolation. We focused on the basics, drinking more water, adding daily walks, eating protein at each meal, and calling a friend once a day. Within months, Rosa stood taller, laughed more, and told me, "I feel like I've come back to life." Her transformation wasn't magic. It was the power of addressing the small mistakes that had been quietly stealing her confidence. Think of your confidence like a lamp covered in dust. Over time, the light seems to fade, not because the bulb is broken, but because it is covered. Each healthy step you take, hydration, strength, rest, nourishment, and connection, is like wiping away that dust. The light returns brighter than you thought possible. So here is my challenge for you. Choose just one of these 5 mistakes and correct it this week. Maybe you commit to drinking a glass of water with every meal. or you try 3 chair squats a day, or you add an egg to your breakfast, or you call a friend you miss. Pick one, do it consistently, and watch how even that single step begins to shift your energy and your confidence. Now, I would love to hear from you. Which of these 5 mistakes do you recognize most in your own life? Which one will you work on first? Share your answer in the comments. By sharing, you not only take your first step, you may also inspire another woman in this community to take hers. And if this video has given you insight or encouragement, please give it a like, share it with a friend, and subscribe to our channel. Together, we can build a supportive space where women over 60 not only protect their health, but also reclaim their confidence. And before we close, let me remind you, this video is for educational purposes only. It does not replace medical advice. Every woman's body is unique. If you are experiencing pain, significant changes, or have personal concerns, please consult with your healthcare provider. Your well-being deserves personalized care.